2021, Lee Bridges. Born September 22nd, 1979, died March 13th, 2020. Garrick Lane. Born April 14th, 1974, died January 5th, 2013. Ironically, they all died the same day they got married. Coming this summer!
You left Lee and I on the podcast for dead. You ran out on us, man.
I have spent $2,000 on this podcast the last 2 years. I gotta get out of here!
I'ma shoot you like a dog.
Extreme Wait a minute. It's 2021. Can't be prejudice. Extreme Dislike. Extreme Dislike. A film by Nicodemus. Welcome to Tales from the Video Store. Extreme Prejudice style. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on 102. How we doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Very good.
I'm doing good. This week, we got Nick Nolte, our last week in Texas.
Vintage fucking Nolte.
It really is vintage.
It's vintage fucking Nolte.
150%. I 150% agree with that. All right, well, let's get into it, boys. We got some news.
Absolutely. We've talked about over the past year, pretty much the entire pandemic. Will people go back to the theaters? Is this the end of theatrical experiences? Blah, blah, blah. Well, apparently it's not, because Godzilla vs. Kong made $50 million last weekend.
Yes.
That's in addition to the $150 it made internationally.
Yep, that's correct. And I think, was it Warner Brothers is ending their streaming deal with HBO. It's almost like they were like, wait a minute. Wait, we can still make money at the theater. Let's stop this streaming thing.
I think they're gonna, for the next few months, they're gonna continue it. But like the big stuff in the summer, like Dune and stuff, is probably not going to HBO Max.
We will be going back to the theater. Well, I went back to the theater and it was nice. It was what it was. You know, I think people are starting to get the vaccine and things are starting to calm down a little bit. So you know,
I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it heavily. I'm just going to wait until there's something that I absolutely have to see in the theater before I make that plunge. But I'm closer now than I was.
Second injection.
I only had to get one. I had
you got the Johnson & Johnson.
I had the single dose, yeah.
Okay, very good. Hey. So there you go.
Yeah, so I'm good. You know, it's been over 14 days, so I'm feeling good. Other than the fact that the AC's not working in here and it's probably 107 degrees. 110 inside of my fucking underwear.
I almost want to just turn it off so we don't have the noise.
So it works.
Yeah. Turn it off, man. Fuck, it's not doing anything but giving us noise.
Yeah, I'm going to have to fix it.
Oh, fuck.
Hold on. Yeah, it's not working. This is terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point that is the pandemic going to change how people go to the theaters? Apparently, most people don't give a shit because they just flocked back to the theaters the first chance they got.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it.
Now, neither was I. Honestly, I'd pretty much given up on it.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm glad I was wrong.
Yeah, hope for the future, man. That's great news.
Yeah, absolutely. And another news story I just saw today that'll be interesting because Garrick's attempts to, make feature films. Garrick, did you read this story? That apparently some actor who's had a few small parts has been charged with running a Ponzi scheme where he was taking investments from movies that didn't exist. And you know how much money he scammed people out of?
Millions, I'm sure.
$227 million.
Wow, dude.
And I can't raise 50 grand.
He was forging emails from Netflix and Warner Brothers. And, apparently this guy's probably going to go to jail for a very long time.
He should. He's ruining our
what's
business.
weird is, you got all these people trying to make movies. They can't get a phone call, but this douche hammer is just raking in money. which he probably could have taken and actually produced a movie.
Oh, right. I mean, if he made $200 million, he could have given me $50,000 for my little nurse short. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But I mean, he produced nothing.
Nothing. Probably bought a bunch of cars and a bunch of PlayStations. What an
Probably
asshole.
did.
Guys like that, man. Well, you know, there was a guy, and I won't name names, there was a guy here in my hometown, right when I got back from Los Angeles, who went to all the guys here, all the rich guys around Hampton Heights, and all those, you know, all the big wigs in Hickory, and wined and dined them, and got money from them to make a movie, and he never made the movie, and he disappeared. And that ultimately has ruined any opportunity for anybody like me to go to these people that I know and are friends of my father's and go, hey, I want to make this movie and I'm real. They're not going to give it to me. These people ruin everything.
Exactly, but and it's not just. I mean, it doesn't just happen to people like you. I was listening to an interview once with Joe Carnahan, who pretty big movie director, and he was trying to adapt the book "Killing Pablo" about Pablo Escobar. This was before the Narcos show came out on Netflix, and there was a guy pretending to be his producer who was down in Colombia, just like getting free hotel rooms and stuff. And apparently, that just happens all the time.
It's crazy. That is crazy. Ruining everything, man. People like that, they ruin every avenue we have.
Exactly.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, man. I saw this on Hollywood Reporter, and you guys probably aren't familiar, but when I was in film school, a producer, you guys know who Scott Rudin is, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
He's done a lot of great movies. Well, when I was in film school, there was a legend in town that he was a monster. Like, just very abusive and very, kind of like Weinstein, basically the same thing.
Somebody you don't want to fuck with.
Yeah, and something came out today actually talking about him, which I thought was hilarious. But apparently he's getting a pass for all his abusive behavior, where, like, you know, Harvey Weinstein and Armie Hammer and all these guys, you know, doing all this stuff. And Scott Rudin's right up there with all these assholes, and he just gets to walk on water. I don't understand that.
His thing wasn't, maybe one of the reasons he got past it, his thing wasn't sexual.
He was just a total asshole.
Garrick, I know you know this movie, the movie Swimming with Sharks with Frank Whaley.
Yes.
Supposedly that's Scott Rudin, is the Kevin Spacey character.
That's about right. I've heard terrible stories.
The worst story I heard was a guy, one of his assistants, he wanted to get on a certain flight, and the guy called, and the flight was completely booked. There were no open seats on the flight. Nobody, you know, he could go on standby, but you know that generally doesn't work out. Supposedly Scott Rudin picked up the Apple monitor off this guy's desk and broke his hand with the Apple monitor, like crushed the guy's hand with a computer monitor.
That's
and
crazy.
that guy went to the hospital, and then nothing happened about it. And like the room was full of people who saw it, you know. So probably one of the reasons why he didn't get taken down is he wasn't, you know, touching people in their bathing suit area. He's just a violent douchebag who like throws coffee cups at people's heads and things like that.
Yeah, I've heard terrible stories. There's some of his old assistants are like coming out and saying that he traumatized their life, like traumatized them for life. This guy, and he's gonna get away with it.
Well,
I mean
being an asshole is not a crime. You can fucking walk away. You can quit. You can fucking tell this guy to fuck off. And these guys were too concerned with their careers to do that.
Right.
Like, you know, so I have sympathy for them a little bit, but at the same time, these guys, you know, these people are adults, and, you know, if a guy throws a fucking coffee mug at my head more than one time, I like to think that's kind of partially my fault for not getting the fuck out of the way. You know, being in a bad position, if it's a job or whatever, you know, dealing with a boss that's like that, get the fuck out of there, you know?
Yeah, but Rude's, I think he says, but a lot of these people do go on to huge careers in Hollywood.
Right.
You know, but, I mean, you know, and like you said, the guy who got his hand broken with the computer monitor, he should have just went to the police.
Right.
Because that is a crime.
Assault.
But like I said, you want that job, and so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in your 20s and you're just trying to get your foot in the door, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, how much are you willing to take in order to get there?
Right. That's true.
Apparently
a
lot.
Do you think this will affect him, Scott Rudin, long term?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It sounds like he's throwing laptops, throwing coffee mugs, and it sounds like this guy needs to be squashed.
What it is that Scott Rudin has never had his ass kicked.
Yeah, obviously.
He's been on Earth for 50-some-odd years, and no one has ever punched him in the face. So he's unaware of consequences. I think it's what, and plus he has all that money and influence that it sort of buffers him from consequences. Just like Weinstein in a different way.
Right.
But, maybe one of these assistants should have just hauled off with a coffee mug and, he probably would have got charged, but he might have thought twice about doing it again.
Yeah, this is crazy. Listen to this. We'll go ahead and read this one. This is crazy. One recent Rudin assistant, says the producer threw a baked potato at his head in 2018 for not knowing why someone from indie distributor A24 was in the lobby. Quote, I went into the kitchen and I was like, hey, Scott, A24 is on the way up. I'm not sure what it's concerning, he says. And Scott Rudin flipped out and said, nobody told me A24 was on my schedule. He threw the baked potato at me. I dodged it. And then he was like, well, find out and get me a new potato. What a piece of shit. Like that. That's just fucking I guess if you're...
It sounds like me as a producer. I kind of like this guy a little bit. I'm just saying.
The worst part would be getting the second baked potato.
That'd be probably the hardest job.
That would be the worst part, because I'd be like, fuck, I gotta go get this asshole another baked potato.
Yeah. I'm about to wipe my ass with it before I stick it in the microwave.
Oh, yeah.
What a prick.
Miguel Cortez, one of his assistants, when he quit Scott Rudin, went on to become a bike mechanic. It's like he didn't want to have anything else to do with the movie business. Scott Rudin had ruined it. That's crazy.
He's probably a lot happier as a bike mechanic.
Yeah, he probably is. 150%. So, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff coming out. It's weird, man. It's funny.
I'm sure that in this climate, he might be safe today, but I promise you, somebody's coming to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's Mia Farrow's son, Ronan Farrow, the guy who keeps making all those documentaries and exposés about him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
There might be a Ronan Farrow somewhere in his future.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ronan's going to use extreme dislike when he makes this thing, too.
Extreme dislike.
Oh, fuck, I love this movie. God, yeah. Can we get into it, please?
Can we get into it? Yes, we can. Extreme prejudice. And I know that Lee his mouth has been watering all week to introduce this movie. So go ahead.
All right, let's do it. This is Walter Hill's 1987 movie, really the last great Walter Hill movie.
Yes.
Extreme Prejudice from 1987, directed by Hill, written by John Milius, basically starring every character actor in Hollywood. Starring Nick Nolte and Powers Booth, the man with probably the coolest name ever.
Cash.
I'm talking about Powers Booth himself. His character is also a very cool name.
Yes.
But Nick Nolte is a Texas Ranger. His best friend growing up, Cash Bailey, is now a drug dealer in Mexico. And they're having the woman Nick Nolte is living with is Powers Booth's ex-girlfriend. And to complicate matters, there's a group of, I guess you'd say, not mercenaries, but, soldiers who are there unofficially to investigate the situation, you think, at the beginning.
It's like the A-Team. I thought it was like the A-Team.
Yeah, it's like a R-rated A-Team plus a police procedural, plus a drug dealer movie. It's basically the manliest movie ever.
And a bank robbery. There's a little bank robbery in there sprinkled in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the most, possibly the most macho movie of all time.
How this is not on everybody's 1980s top 10 is beyond me.
It's just a lost movie. I mean, it was released in, I think, 2000 by Artisan Entertainment, a company which no longer exists, on DVD. I don't really know what the rights situation is. There's a DVD, there's a Blu-ray in Japan, which is out of print, which costs about $200 on eBay.
Right.
And I really don't know why. You can't stream it, you can't rent it, you can buy it for $5 on Amazon. And it's the DVD print in full frame. It's not even in widescreen. I really have no idea why this movie's lost. It's not like, somebody owned it, they died. I really don't know. It's just, I guess it's just kind of one of those movies just falls through the cracks. But it's a shame because it's a fucking masterpiece.
It's amazing.
It really is. It's sort of the, I don't know. I really can't explain it. It's just everything about it kicks ass. The dialogue, the characters, the action set pieces. Like Rip Torn's in it for about 10 minutes.
And he's a bad motherfucker too.
Every piece of dialogue he has is solid gold. Like when Dick Nolte says something about the state legislature making women Texas Rangers. Rip Torn's reaction is, Jack, I don't think worse than a politician is a child molester. And I mean, but then you get to the Army guys, you got William Forsythe, all these tiny loose listers in the movie for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Clancy Brown. I love everything about this movie. Have you seen it before, Doug?
I had not.
You had not?
I don't know how I've never seen this. It was like a fucking fever dream watching it. I felt like I was like, every line was made for me, every action scene was made for me. Like, Powers Booth character in this is one of my favorite villains I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
He has pushed a lot of people out of the way, and he's always been one of my favorite, character actor villain types. I just fucking love everything about him.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh man, I don't know how I've never seen this. I don't know.
Yeah, it's never on TV. I think I saw it once on television in the early 2000s on some obscure cable channel at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's not on home video, it's not on TV, and it's not on streaming.
I don't ever remember seeing it on HBO or anything like that, back in the olden times, where
I rented it as a kid, and I was probably 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
Me and my brother just rented it because it was the new action movie, And I saw it once then, and the next time I saw it was in the early 2000s on TV.
I got you.
And then I eventually bought it on DVD probably a year or so later.
Yeah.
But it's to tell you how awesome this movie is. Powers Booth, the character Doug and I are talking about, as Cash Bailey, he's introduced. He's just slept with a prostitute in Mexico. He's drinking a bottle of tequila. He wears throughout the entire movie a white on white suit with a matching white cowboy hat. And then he's drinking this tequila, and he sees a scorpion crawl across the table. He lets it crawl into his hand, and then he just crushes it with his sheer Powers Boothness.
Yes.
And you would think, oh, he must be the most badass character in the movie. He's
he's badass, but he's not. I don't think he's even in the top 3.
Exactly.
No. That was all done in one take, by the way. That's cool.
That same.
Yeah.
It made me. It instantly, immediately when he came on screen and that scene that you just described happened, immediately I just wrote on my notes a frowny face because I fucking miss him.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite villainous character actors of all time.
Absolutely.
I just fucking love the guy.
Yeah. And
he's as good in this. He's as good in this as anything else that he's ever been in, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
He's amazing in this.
He really is.
Yeah.
He's as good in this as he is in Deadwood.
Yeah.
And he's fucking great in Deadwood.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that he wasn't in the Deadwood movie because he unfortunately passed away before that. But I mean, Nick Nolte, Nick Nolte's not really thought of. I don't know. He didn't do that many action movies, but the ones he did were with Walter Hill. So between this and 48 Hours, I mean, he's just awesome in this.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's here's the thing. Here's the weird thing. He's the main character, but he probably has the least amount of dialogue of all the characters. Like, he doesn't say that much.
Doesn't have a ton of screen time either.
No, exactly. It's weird because he's like you said, he's not in the movie a lot, but he's the main character.
Yeah.
Apparently that was an issue while they were filming, because when they were filming the movie, Michael Ironside's superior was Andy Robinson, the guy who played the serial killer in the first Dirty Harry movie. He was Frank, and he was the dad in Hellraiser. Been in a million movies.
Yeah.
But he's the CIA guy who's pulling and they just had to cut him out of the movie completely, because apparently he's like, Walter had to go to Michael Ironside, like, listen, we're cutting Andy Robinson out of the movie, because if we keep all that stuff in, it was like 45 minutes of stuff. He goes, it's basically the Michael Ironside movie also starring Nick Nolte, and that's not what they were paying for.
I got you.
I would like to see that 45 minutes.
Oh, I would love to see that. I would think that's something, if it, people who own DVD distribution companies, Shout Factory, whoever, this is a movie that is begging to be on DVD. And like Garrick said, there's a whole other cut out there somewhere that you could charge even more money, because it's a version no one's ever seen.
We need to come up like Zack Snyder and just be the Extreme Prejudice fan club and see if we can get the Extreme Prejudice Walter Hill
Release the Ironside Cut.
Yeah,
the Ironside Cut.
The Ironside Cut.
Yeah.
We need that.
Exactly.
Let's get on that on our Facebook page.
There we go.
The Ironside Cut. There's 45
and also, let's talk
minutes.
About Michael Ironside's one of those actors, he improves every movie he's in.
But he's the same guy in every movie.
Yeah, he's Michael Ironside. That's what you're paying for. I don't want to see Michael Ironside play somebody.
I don't want to see him acting. I want him to be himself, and that's exactly who he is in this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though he does a little acting when he's portraying being like that DEA agent.
Right.
He tried to go off character a little bit. But, it's still him. And the look when they get to the bank and he has the fucking pantyhose on his head and he turns around and his fucking front lips like all twisted up showing his fucking teeth. He looked so fucking insane, dude. It was an amazing fucking shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is that? Oh, it's Ironside. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And
I like the dynamic between the soldiers.
Oh, man.
Like when Clancy Brown, he kind of senses from the beginning that Michael Ironside's full of shit.
Yeah.
But
he's the leader. He's the leader.
Yeah. Exactly. But it takes him to the end before he gets confirmation of it.
Yeah, and then William Forsythe's scene stealing stuff like, hey, as long as I have a face, you can sit on it or whatever it is.
You got a place to sit.
Yeah, that's right.
A place to sit. Yeah.
He's great.
He's amazing.
And it's that one scene would never make the cut.
There's several in this. There's a lot of this dialogue is very
socially irresponsible.
Yes, but not in the 80s. It wasn't.
I don't.
No.
I don't
use that term. It's because that's the term John Milius used about things. He loved movies that were socially irresponsible.
Right.
Like that. Yeah.
I just hate. I hate that. It's like, no, man. It's a fucking movie, dude. It's a fucking story.
Yeah.
Get on board or don't. Like, if you have to tell a story in a certain way, then you're definitely going to lose something, some of the appeal of it, trying to appease, the larger the audience that you're trying to appease, the more watered down the version of whatever it is that you're making is going to be. And thank God that movies like this still exist. So I can get in my time capsule and go back to 1987 and fucking relive that time, because this is how it was done back then. This is how Walter Hill and John Milius did shit, and I fucking love. I love this fucking movie so much I can't stand it. I immediately wanted to watch it again.
Yeah.
But I couldn't.
Yeah. It's super good.
I've got to find it. I've got to own it. I've got to have it on tap. I fucking love this shit, dude.
I understand. I've watched this movie like many, many times.
Well, you were hyped on it, and I had a little feeling in my cockles that maybe this was going to be something special, but I didn't want to get my hopes up too much. But I'm talking 3 minutes in, you know, when they're doing the intro, like the kind of A-Team style intros of these military guys as they're meeting at this airport. I was like, I'm already in. And that was nothing in comparison with the rest of the movie, but I was already sold 2.5, 3 minutes in. Fucking awesome. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can honestly say I love everything about this movie.
Yeah. Nick Nolte's character in this, there's an old joke, and it's one of my favorites, and I still do it today in certain scenarios. Patton Oswalt, several years ago, he did a little comedy bit, and it's a very small part of this act that he was doing, and I believe he did this sometime in the mid-90s. And he talked about Nick Nolte being a finalist to play Han Solo in Star Wars, and how great that would have been. And then he goes on with, goddamn, Chewbacca, get it! Goddamn it, R2, turn the goddamn booster on, Jesus fucking Christ. And that whole thing, I immediately when Nolte started talking in this, that's exactly what popped into my head. He was fucking Han Solo. Yeah. You know, in this not Star Wars movie, but that he has that kind of badassness. And right. I fucking love the guy. Is he a disaster today? Has he had some rough times? Oh yeah, he has. But you know what? It was cool as fuck to see him in that season 1 of Mandalorian, even though it's not seeing him per se, but hearing him and knowing that he was in there, I thought that was awesome. I love Nick Nolte as much as the next guy does, but in the last 10, 15 years, he's had some not so shining moments. I do remember a particular DUI picture that wasn't the most flattering thing I've ever seen.
Nick Nolte can drink and drive all he fucking wants.
In his defense, he did just get done shooting the Ang Lee Hulk movie, and I don't think anybody would look great coming out of that.
Well played, Lee. Well played.
But no, he's who's your favorite character in Extreme Prejudice?
Mine?
Yeah,
it's fucking Cash all day.
Cash Bailey.
Cash Bailey is the fucking man. He is the shit. He is the fucking tits. He is the heat. He is a goddamn hurricane in a movie full of fucking great action and great actors. It all comes back to the power of Powers Booth.
There you go.
Now, could somebody else have done that role? Yeah, but sure. it wouldn't have been the same. It's like him as Curly Bill. You know, he just owns it, man. He's just perfect. He's like
laid back in a minute. He's menacing in a laid back way.
Yeah,
which is weird to say.
Yes, I would definitely.
Seems like he might. Yeah, but he's cool about it. He might kill somebody, but he's cool.
I would definitely go shoot tequila with him, but I would be scared at some point that he would pull a gun or a knife on me.
Yeah,
100%. I'd say the wrong thing and get fucking shanked.
Shot in the back.
Yeah. Man, he's great in this, dude.
Yeah.
Nick Nolte lost 50 pounds to get into character for this. That's crazy.
Well,
you can tell he looks like this. You know, he looks in very good shape in this movie.
Absolutely.
And also, he's going to have to do so much more physical stuff in this movie than his other types of movies. You know, like the end, which is a giant sort of homage to the Wild Bunch. You know, it's pretty much the end of the Wild Bunch, just with cocaine. You know,
and that's fine.
And that's fine. And but it's just the amount of squibs going off in this movie at the end, the last 20 minutes, are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
And also, I will say this: it's probably the sweatiest movie of all time.
Everybody a little moist.
Looks like they're sweating their fucking balls off in this movie.
I look like I could have been in it right now. I'm fucking soaking wet. Garrick and I are in here fucking pouring sweat.
Yeah, we're in extreme prejudice mode. For sure.
Yeah.
All I need is my cowboy hat. I'd be set.
There
Or a
you go.
scorpion in hand. Or to be in Maria Conchita's Alonso's dress.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was a hottie, man.
I
She
know.
looked good in The Running Man, too. She's getting older, too. She's pretty. She did all her own vocals in that scene where she was singing.
She's always
Yeah.
been beautiful.
It's great.
Yeah.
Great movie. Must see. Is there a Blu-ray?
No.
There's not.
There's one in Japan, but it's $200.
And who knows the quality or what the fuck it even is?
Yeah, exactly.
Because the cover that Lee sent me, there was not a stitch of English on the whole fucking thing. So I have absolutely no idea what you're really getting.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Right.
hopefully one day there will be.
I hope to God that other people, like-minded movie lovers like myself and you guys, are able to, who love fucking 80s badassness, are able to at least find this and be able to watch it, because it is fucking amazing. I don't know how this thing slipped through the cracks, dude. I have no idea.
There's a lot of movies that are coming out all the time.
I mean,
In the
there's
80s, I mean, it's
there's star power. You've got Walter Hill. Like,
It was produced by Croco Pictures, who did the Terminator movies and Total Recall. Yeah, just like somehow it's like everything about it works. It just didn't. I guess it just didn't click with audiences at the time.
like, had I seen this in 1987, I might have grown up to be Cash Bailey. I don't know. Everything could have been different if I would have seen this when I was such a young boy.
And like you walk into like 8th grade, you're wearing a white on white suit with
White on white suit with a cowboy hat on. You're damn
a
right.
scorpion crawling around on your fucking shoulder.
You're like, Doug, are you okay?
Call me Cash. Ultimate fucking badass.
Now we're getting hot. Now we're all getting hot.
Yeah. Ultimate fucking
Can't
badass.
stop now. I can't stop now.
Yeah. I'm in too
It's
deep.
too deep.
I'm too
Yep.
deep.
In too deep, baby.
Yeah.
April 24th, 1987. I wonder if it was released at the same time as another big movie, and that's why it fell through the cracks. We were young in 87. I was 13, so we probably couldn't even gotten in that movie.
Well, I'd have found a
Yeah.
way in. If I would have known it was like this, I'd have gotten in.
Yeah. I'm sure it probably was. It was probably released around the. Who knows? That'd actually be something to look up. What was released around that time? I'm sure it's some forgotten movie that was just number one at the box office that weekend.
Yeah. It was $22 million, and it only made half of that.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it did well at the. Yeah, it did do well at the box office at all.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's an acquired movie, though. I mean, a lot of people aren't gonna. My wife would watch this and be like, "This movie's terrible." It's just for guys like us. And how many?
That's what I'm telling you. Like, guys like us and others like us out there. If this is something you don't know, drop everything that you're fucking doing, get online, and find a way to fucking watch this. It's that good.
It was beat out opening weekend by a movie with a guy named Michael J. Fox, The Secret of My Success.
Ah, Fox, damn it.
Got outfoxed.
Yeah, I know. Actually, yeah, my brother loves that movie.
And I went to that movie opening weekend, so that's how I missed it, is I went to The Secret to My Success instead of going to see Extreme Prejudice.
Yeah, well.
It was, and look, Lethal Weapon had opened a month before, Platoon had opened a month before, Raising Arizona. That's a lot.
Right.
That's your top 10 the week
Yeah,
it
it just
came
got
out.
lost in the marketplace, basically.
Police Academy 4. Yeah, I mean, and the Aristocats. So you got all the kids.
What the fuck did you just say? Police Academy 4?
Yeah.
How dare
on
you?
Patrol?
Huh?
Is that Miami Beach? Or
No, Citizens on Patrol.
Citizens on Patrol.
Well, it is one of my favorites, so I'm going to let that
Those
slide.
movies, hey, listen, say what you will, those movies were insanely popular.
All right, you're right. And the first one's pretty funny.
The first one is still solid. I've not watched any of the sequels in a very long time.
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure they do not hold up.
They do not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do not. I'm certain of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Find it. If you're not a collector of Blu-rays and Criterion Collection DVDs, and you just like to have the movie, it is only $8 on Apple.
It's $5.99 on Amazon.
How much?
$5.99.
Oh, so it's actually cheaper on Amazon.
Yeah. Is the Apple print in full frame?
It is. It looks good
God
too.
damn.
It looked fucking great, though, man.
There's no widescreen print.
I don't think there is.
Damn. Oh, geez Louise. Hope the negative is still in existence, because otherwise that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that somewhere, Walter Hill's library somewhere.
We gotta research this and find this motherfucker, dude, and bring it out into the world.
The Ironside Cut.
The Ironside Cut needs to be, it needs to have some fucking air breathed into it.
Absolutely. Speaking of alternate cuts, I hear one of the movies you watched was the Justice League.
I did. Are we? That's it?
It's time.
Okay.
Yeah, the end of Extreme Prejudice says, find it, watch it, love it, and if you don't, there's always option B, which is go fuck your mother.
Right.
Well put, Lee.
If you don't like this movie, it's a great day to go fuck yourself.
That's a fact.
Okay, so alternate cuts. You actually sat down for 4 hours.
I did. Jody wanted to watch it, and I was kind of in a mood, and I said, you know what, we've got time. Let's just see what it's talking about. I don't remember one thing about that movie. It felt like a new movie. It was the best modern DC movie, and it's not even close, of these ones that they've been making the last few
I
years.
agree. 100% agree.
And I honestly, I actually enjoyed it.
It's great.
It was fucking weird. The strangest thing about this movie is it never felt even close to 4 hours, man. You know, it's like some shit would happen and I'd look down and be like, God damn, we still got 2 more hours left? Shit.
Yeah.
But just the way that it's done was just fine.
Yep.
I mean, number one, I never thought I would sit down and watch it. But number two, I never thought that it would be something that I would actually like. I see why these guys went crazy and were clamoring for this thing to happen. I understand now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I know I saw the original or whatever the fuck Justice League was, but I don't remember it. Well, I won't say any of it. There's a couple of little scenes where I was like, yeah, I kind of remember that. But it's like a completely different movie, man. Completely different.
And it's good.
It's not bad. So, Lee, that's two saying, you know,
yeah,
maybe one of these.
I'll give it a shot. In a few weeks, when I get HBO Max, I'll give it a day in court.
Yeah. The only other thing I've been watching, which has consumed quite a bit of my time, I don't know why, because it's just fucking madness. But I found a 6-part documentary on HBO Max. That's kind of my go-to now, man, because they've got a treasure trove of stuff on there.
They really do.
About QAnon.
What the fuck is that?
This is I don't know.
Okay.
It's like a catch-all for crazy internet shit.
Yeah, it's like this guy posted some shit under this heading of Q and started dropping these posts on this very odd, basically a website that you could go to where there is nothing but free speech. I mean, it's like everything on there from like fucking pedophilia chat rooms to goddamn Nazi chat rooms and all this, all just on this one site. And this who the fuck ever start dropping these things, talking about the government, kind of alluding to things with Trump and all this stuff that was happening in government. And the next thing you know, it's turned into this thing. And I think a lot of like the fervor of these people that like attack the Capitol building and all this, it stems from this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is absolute fucking nonsense.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's somebody handing you a series of some sentences and then you trying to piece that into something that is actually anything that matters.
Well, Doug, the fact that this person, who I think is probably, if they ever found out who it was, I think he's just an internet troll.
Oh, it's somebody who's just doing it to fuck about.
The fact that he has convinced millions of Americans that Tom Hanks, the Pope, and other people are baby-eating Satanists.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say their last name, but I know people who are into this shit, and it is all-consuming. And because conspiracy theories make people feel good. They make people feel safe.
It makes them feel like they see through the lies.
Right. Because the idea that a dozen Saudi Arabian guys with box cutters could take down several planes is terrifying.
Yeah.
Right. It's random. It just seems like there's nothing you can do about it. But if it's a cult of Satan worshiping baby eaters from Hollywood, that gives you an enemy. It's not random. It's these people.
Yeah.
You know, and it actually, conspiracy theories actually make people feel good. It makes them feel in control.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And basically, to me, that's what it is. Is, you know, these guys, you know, they live in their parents' basement or whatever, or they're unfulfilled in their lives. It's the same way people get involved in cults and hate groups and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, people who are sort of, disenfranchised, and they hear something, and, oh, I agree with that. And it's usually nothing crazy. It's just like, you know, the government keeps you down. Well, I agree with that. You know, the government does stop you from doing things. Well, this. Oh, now all of a sudden, then 6 months later, it's fucking lizard people from Venus live underground and control the government. And it's just, you know, it's insanity.
It's one of the strangest. I've got, there's 6 episodes. I have not watched the finale. I don't know if if this filmmaker is going to actually figure out who it is, but I do have a very good idea of who this Q person is or people are, and I'll report back if it is uncovered.
Please do, because I would actually very much like to see that documentary. I'll probably check that out.
It's very well done, and it's just fucking it's sad, man. Is what it is.
It makes me want to apologize to a Scientologist.
It almost does.
Listen, guys, I apologize. You're not the craziest people out there.
Right. Yeah, it's batshit. So that's what I watched.
Okay. Well, I too was on the old HBO Max. It's got great stuff.
I mean, it's got a fucking such a vault, dude.
And I read the script of the same movie. I read along the script to No Country for Old Men.
Really?
And I had an old script that I'd gotten in Los Angeles, and dude, those guys. It's crazy because it's good practice to read scripts to see how it's done. And man, it flows so well. That movie's so good. Like you don't like it, do you? You're not a big fan of it.
I watched it one time, and I came away pissed off and disappointed.
Really? I think it's a masterpiece.
Well, here's the thing. I was going to watch it again for our Texas block, but I couldn't because I got wrapped up in the fucking QAnon documentary. And I ended up spending 5 fucking hours of my free time doing that instead of
4 hours of Schneider.
Yeah. Instead, I ran out of time. Instead of giving No Country for Old Men another day in court, because I really do want to, and I still probably will at some point.
I was going to say, well, I'll challenge you. Why don't you watch it this next week, and we'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
It really is a masterpiece. What do you think, Lee?
Oh, I love it. I loved it since the day it came out.
Yeah, it was. Sugar is like the man.
Oh yeah.
There's nobody that plays better freaking scumbags and bad guys. Speaking of Powers Booth, Javier Bardem may be the second best freaking bad guy.
He's fucking great.
Ever.
He's fucking great.
Yeah.
But he's no fucking Powers Booth, by God. I'll tell you that.
Who wins that, Cash or Sugar?
Cash.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, Cash would hire Anton Chigurh.
Yeah, right. That would never be a... They'd
both be standing there in fucking white suits, you know.
And Sugar would never say, Give it up, we'll walk away. He just would look at you with that look and be like, flip the coin and go, pa-ting, and hit him with, and shoot him with that freaking silencer. It's the size of a fucking Mack truck.
I think that isn't that something that's used to kill livestock?
Yeah, the bolt gun.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the silencer that he shoots Woody with. He's got the silencers like that big. Remember the guys he shoots in the hotel and it picks him up off the freaking bed and fly into the corner?
Well, I mean, you know.
That's a badass movie, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. And I also watched another Texas movie, the fucking complete opposite of No Country for Old Men. And I'm sure you guys are going to laugh, and I don't care, because it's my kind of movie. It really is an opera cinema. I like these movies. This movie reminded me a lot of like Nobody's Fool, Paul Newman.
Right.
Driving Miss Daisy. There is no action. It's just character.
Are you telling me that you watched?
I watched Tender Mercies with Robert Duvall.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It was Bruce.
That's not a bad movie.
It's Bruce Beardford's film, and he's the movie starts with him washed up, broke, staying in a hotel, and he ends up falling in love, like getting his life together and falling in love with the hotel owner who keeps him on, and he starts building his life back, and man, it is just a touch of life, and it's fantastic, and I love it. Like, it really is good. I think
it's not a bad movie at all.
Yeah, and it's so Duvall won the Best Actor, which makes total sense, and it won Best Writing, screenplay directed directly to not adapted, original screenplay. No, screenplay written directly for the screen. Yes. So, man, I really, really, really love it. It's and there's it's just one of those movies where it just goes from scene to scene with people, and it's fucking phenomenal. And then I also watched Wyatt Earp. 3.5 hours.
That is unfortunate.
Lawrence Kasdan. I don't care. I like Kevin Costner, man. Kevin Costner's my guy, and freaking.
I saw that Waterworld was trending on Netflix. Maybe you can give that a watch too, you fucking cunt. Jesus Christ.
Hey, Dennis Quaid as portraying Doc Holliday the way Doc Holliday really was probably the highlight of that 3 hours. It's great. I mean, it's not the best film. It's not the worst. I enjoy it. It's Wyatt Earp. It's history. So that's what I watched.
Okay.
Oh wait, I got one more. I'll save it for next week. No, actually, I'll do it. Oliver Stone's Heaven and Earth.
Yes.
Movie about it actually follows the Vietnamese woman, man, who had a really shitty fucking life.
Yeah.
And was brought to the U.S. by a soldier, and he had PTSD and ends up killing himself and threatening the kids, and she just has a very rough life, and it's really about that, about Vietnam. And I think it was Oliver Stone was starting to shift toward his multimedia weird films like JFK and Oliver Stone, but this one was linear, kind of like Born on the 4th of July. They didn't have any crazy flashbacks or
there's not like demons in the back,
like black and white shots and things like that. It was
it's a very good movie.
Yeah, I forgot how good it really was. It's very good.
Nice.
So there you go.
Because I'm a big Oliver Stone fan in certain things.
Absolutely.
Especially considering he's a Vietnam vet.
Right.
Yeah, he tells that.
It's a very even-keeled movie.
Well, and I think that's who he is. I mean, it shaped his life. I think Platoon and Born on the 4th of July and Heaven and Earth are probably his 3 best films, and they're all based around his experiences in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that would be like me making movies about jerking off. I mean, they're going to be good.
You go with what you know, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
That was good, Garrick. I didn't. Yeah. That was funny.
Stick with what you know.
Stick with what you know.
Solid advice.
Coming this summer, Fistella.
Jeez.
A double matinee, Fistella, followed by extreme dislike. Anyway, all right, Lee.
All right. I watched watched actually two new releases, both red boxed them both. The first one was called SIS Red Notice, which is a British action film.
Okay.
And it's got a really good cast. Like Tom Wilkins is in it for a few minutes, you know. But it's just it doesn't, like, it's not necessarily that it's bad. It's just that it doesn't flow very well. Like, what's weird is it's a Die Hard ripoff, like 30 years too late. This guy takes, you know, they're going in the channel, the tunnel between under the English Channel between England and France, and terrorists take it over. And he was in the SIS, and it just like it's so. I won't even say badly paced, but oddly paced. Like, you know, they go into like a 10-minute scene about something that completely disrupts the action. You know, and then when you think it's over, it has like two more endings. You know, like there's a scene at the end that I thought the credits were going to start playing over, and then it just went on for like 5 or 10 more minutes, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know. And it's not like I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, I don't know. It's just there aren't a lot of action movies that come out of England, and I think maybe this was just them trying to make something more commercial. You know, and parts of it's got some cool scenes in it, you know, and but yeah, just it has a lot to do with like English only politics, you know. So it's kind of like if you don't know about it, you don't. It's like
if you don't know Brexit, then fuck off.
Exactly. And that people in England use like so many a lot more homes in England use gas heat than a lot of it has to do with gas. You know, like a gas pipeline, and it's just like that doesn't really apply to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's a very English action movie, and I think they probably could have dialed that back a little.
I gotcha.
You know,
okay.
But I also watched a movie called Shadow in the Cloud, which is a very, very unusual movie. You know, back in World War II, when a plane would crash, it would say it had gremlins. You know, like, oh, a gremlin got in the engine, and that's why the plane crashed. And then, you know, I guess the most, besides the, you know, is the Twilight Zone episode. You know, Terror at 30,000 Feet. That's really the only sort of World War II style gremlin that's ever been portrayed. You know, like something this creature that goes on planes and makes them crash. It takes place entirely on a B-2 bomber, and this gremlin is on this plane that's flying from New Zealand somewhere. They never say where. But Chloe Grace Moretz is this member of the Women's Air Auxiliary. You know, they weren't, you know, in the military, but they were sort of military adjacent. Right. She shows up to this B-2 bomber with a package and a letter from a colonel saying she has to get it somewhere. And once they take off, she sees and she's stuck down in the gunner seat under the bottom of the plane. That's what and she sees this gremlin crawling around the bottom of the plane. And parts of it are very, very well done. Like this woman who directed it, Roseanne Lang, you can tell she that's what she wants to do is make action and horror movies.
Cool.
So what's weird is it feels like a director who made a cool low budget movie and they got a chance to make a big. It's a sophomore slump movie, but it's the first movie.
I see what you're saying. Like,
there's parts of it that are very cool, but also parts of it just don't work. You know. And here's the thing. I will watch her next movie. The parts of it I like so much, I will watch her next movie. But this movie is kind of, you know, it's very muddled.
Well, hopefully she won't get, like, some huge Hollywood movie as her next one. Not. You know, and maybe the sophomore project will end up being much better because of that.
Right.
You know, because we've seen, especially in the last 5 years, too many of these one-hit wonders coming out of nowhere, and then suddenly they're getting these premium fucking projects handed to them, and they just don't deserve it.
Movies that 20 years ago, it took Sam Raimi 20 years to get.
Exactly.
And they're getting it, you know, 18 months after they made some movie that went to Sundance. They're making some giant tentpole movie.
Yeah.
You know, which is insane. Yeah, like I said, I will watch her next movie.
Yeah, cool.
And there's enough cool stuff in there. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to people, but I will say this: the Gremlin It's completely CGI, but the CGI is very well done.
Cool.
Like, you don't really, like, when it's attacking people, you don't really think about it.
So it's not Gizmo.
No, it's like a giant, it's like imagine a chimp, a rat chimp. Like, it's very big. I'd say it's about 3 or 4 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
It's like yeah. And then when she finally throws it out of the plane, it just sticks his arm out and wings come out. It starts flying back up at her, and she's like, fuck. Like, it's like she can't win, you know. But it just, I don't know. It doesn't, it works about 60%.
Okay.
You know. But anyway, that's all I watched.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what are we going to do next week, boys? We were going to do sports comedies, but Doug's like, you know what? Nobody gives a shit. And maybe that's true. I guess we'll just have to figure that out this week.
I mean, we can do them. I just, you know, I just don't.
Doug, let me just, one point with what you're saying. Let me just take an issue with that.
Okay.
The fact that you're saying that if we did an episode on Slapshot, that it wouldn't be a great fucking episode. That's insanity.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but I'm saying it doesn't need to be followed up by Field of Dreams or fucking Tin Cup or, you know, 2 more fucking...
Tin Cup was your suggestion, Doug.
Well, because I love Tin Cup. Fuck y'all both. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want. I really don't care. It's up to you guys.
Okay, well, we'll leave everybody hanging until next week.
Okay.
And if we can't come to an agreement, we'll do a one-off.
We'll post it on some of your shit, right?
Yes, that's right.
Somebody will put some things on the interweb.
We stop by our website. We've got a new link tree. It'll take you to anything you need to go. I know a lot of people listen to podcasts on different mediums. I, of course, am all Apple, so everything's Apple. I don't need Spotify, and I don't need anything else, but I know other people out there have Google Play, they have Androids, they want to listen to it on SoundCloud. Well, guess what? We've got a link tree now, and it's got every button to everything that we have. Check it out. It's floating around. It's in our profile page it's in our bio on Instagram, it's on Facebook, and now if you go to the website, you hit the link tree first, and then you have to click the button to get into the website, or you could go listen. So, hey, we'll see you next week then with Extreme Dislike.
We're talking about a movie written by John Milius and directed by Walter Hill from 1986, Extreme Prejudice. A movie so manly, if you put the DVD on your DVD shelf, it will get your other DVDs pregnant.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Check out our link tree to find where you can find Tales from the Video Store. Subscribe to our YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify channels. Get us on Apple iTunes. We are everywhere. We are here to tell you about the movies that you've never heard of us.